So today we have things you may not know about in FC24. These are going to be settings and tips that you can use to squeeze whatever's left out of FC24. I know it's a little bit late in the cycle to put out a video like this, but hopefully it still helps you guys out. You might learn something new today. A lot of people that play FC games play just the big modes like clubs, manager or player career, ultimate team. But don't forget that there is tournament mode as well, and this tournament mode could be useful to play tournaments without having all those career mode features. You can just play a Champions League tournament without having to play Premier League matches or do transfers. There's also the Women's Champions League. The Libertadores could be a tournament that you play through tournament mode as well, especially if you're not one to do any South American type of career modes. There's also Women's International Cup, but you can also play full-on leagues like the Premier League, the Serie A, without having to do any career mode business or transfers, and you just play the fixtures pretty much. You can even do just the cups. So if you want to play an FA Cup without having to worry about playing Premier League matches and transfers and career mode business, you can do that here as well. I think tournament mode is a little bit underrated because I think a lot of people just end up playing career mode anyway, but tournament mode could be a lot of fun as well. Did you know there is a way to enhance the atmosphere at the games in FC24? You have to go to the audio game settings and go all the way down to beyond broadcast. It says enabling this setting will raise the intensity and overall atmosphere of the crowd during gameplay to levels beyond typical broadcast. By default, I think it is off. I do think it does raise the intensity and atmosphere of the games, but I'll play 2 clips here so you can take a look and listen for yourselves. Now, a lot of people that use English commentary in the game end up using Derek Ray and Stuart Robson as the commentary team. But did you know that there is a second commentary team in the game? Guy Mowbray and Sue Smith are available in the game, but at the moment they're only available for Kickoff and Ultimate Team. So I guess if you play Ultimate Team, you can use this secondary English commentary team. Career mode people might have to wait until FC25. I'll play a clip of this commentary so you guys can get a feel for it.
Well, hello everyone. We're in Manchester today, the Etihad Stadium. Guy Mowbray here, and Sue Smith is here to commentate with me. And we've got live Premier League action for you today. It's Manchester City, and they play Fulham.
Thanks, Guy. Well, I can't wait for this one. Both sets of fans are certainly up for it. I'm sure that that'll give the players a real boost. They'll be hoping to start the game at a fast tempo.
Rodri plays alongside Kevin De Bruyne in central midfield.
Oh, they must finish here.
Well, that hasn't taken long. In front already.
At the moment we're on a PlayStation 5 and they do have controller settings for the PS5 controller. I'm not sure about other platforms, but if you play on PS5 you need to check out these settings. So analog sprint is one setting. It says the further you hold R2 the faster the player will run. Basically you have control over how fast your players sprint. L2 and R2 will cause a small resistance before fully pressing and triggering a player's sprint, jockey or shield. I always turn this off because it just feels like you're battling the controller. And then there's user vibration feedback. You can have classic, enhanced, or intense. So obviously the vibrations will change based on this setting. Intense, pretty much you feel everything, you know. And there's also another PS5 controller setting that I turn off as well, and that is the controller audio volume. You get those dodgy goal net sounds, you get those dodgy ref whistles coming out of your controller. You might not want that, so I turn that off as well. But of course you can turn it on and hear the sounds coming out of your controller as well if you play the game. There's a few things in this section of the game that you need to know about. The first one is online settings. If you go to online settings and go to privacy, you can check your privacy settings. So I usually untick all of these because I don't want EA to get my data. Things like usage sharing and playtime data can be sent to EA if you have this enabled. If you care about your privacy, you might want to go here and untick these things. If you would like to change the language of your game, you just have to go to settings, go to game settings, and on the tile flick the R stick you can see that you can change the language of the game. You can do English and any of the other available ones that are in the game at the moment. So that's not commentary, that's for the menus and everything else, all the text in the game. If you want to transfer players to different clubs for any reason, just go to club transfers, pick the club you want, and then start transferring the players out. You can transfer them to the free agents or any other club available in the game. Sometimes you want to tinker with the national team squads. You can do this in FC24. You just have to go to national squads, select the team, and then you can start transferring players in or out, and they'll be part of the national team after. If we go back to the game settings, there are a few extra things we need to talk about. Under the visual section, there is a thing called Playstyles Plus overhead indicators. If you played the game, you might have noticed that there are playstyle icons that go above the players' heads. Sometimes they could annoy people. You can turn that feature off if you don't like it. You might know that the game has a feature called timed finishing. It's basically double tapping the shoot button, and depending on the timing, you might do a better shot or a bad shot. You can turn that feature off if you want a more classic FIFA experience. I turn it off because it just gets in the way a little bit sometimes, and I don't see a problem playing FIFA without the timed finishing on. There are different assists in the game as well. You might not know about these, but there are assisted headers. You can choose to have a more manual experience, so you can turn that off. Even shooting has different assistance levels. You can turn it to manual, but you can also have precision or assisted. There's even auto shots where players will take automatic shots in situations where the player has a short reaction time in the 6-yard box. Passing has a lot of different assists as well that you can turn on or off. So it just depends. If you want a more manual experience, you can choose to have these off, or if you want a more assisted experience, you can turn them all on. Even defending has a lot of different things as well that you can take a look at. There's even player switching. I do recommend taking a look at all of these things here, like the dribbling one, even the goalkeeper one. This applies more to maybe career mode people, but there are different difficulty things you can add to your gameplay experience, like competitor mode. It's a setting that's going to be enabled only on legendary or ultimate difficulty, and it simulates the playstyle of some of the world's best FC players. I usually keep it off though. Player-based difficulty is another thing. Star players on the CPU AI team will have enhanced intelligence while being controlled. You might want to turn that on as well if you're finding the gameplay too easy. And another way you can alter the gameplay is through the sliders. It's all there. You can do CPU and user sliders. Just muck around with that. You can go higher or lower, and there are sliders online that you can find and apply to your game. Some of you guys might think that Volta is just all about the 5v5s, the futsal, and versing real clubs. And while that is one way to play Volta, there is another way. If you go to Volta Football, this is a whole different mode that still incorporates Volta, but it has different things to do. This Volta section has so many different ways to play Volta. You can see Volta Squads, where you can join up with other players online. You can do Volta Arcade, which has mini games. This is actually pretty fun. It does have a few cool party games. And then there's also Volta Battles. So yeah, if you haven't given Volta a chance by now, maybe come to this Volta mode and play, the mini games and stuff like that. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and also click the thumbnail in the middle to watch me play the Euro 2024 DLC.